Since October 7, 2023, the U.S. has been Israel's biggest supporter of its genocidal war in Palestine's Gaza.
No administration has helped Israel more than I have.
Our commitment to Israel's security and to the defense of Israel is ironclad. That will not change.
But Israel continues to decimate Gaza and its people and create a humanitarian crisis of epic proportions.
The humanitarian situation is so dire on the ground. We continue to see Israel not taking sufficient steps to address civilian harm.
On October 13 this year, the U.S. sent a now-leaked letter to Israel warning Tel Aviv to improve Gaza's humanitarian situation in the next 30 days or risk facing an arms embargo.
Our hope is that Israel will make the changes that we have outlined.
The same weekend the letter was sent, U.S. President Joe Biden authorized delivery of the high-tech THAAD anti-ballistic missile defense system to Israel, as well as deployment of around 100 American troops to operate it. This was not the first time the Biden administration threatened to withhold military aid to Israel. Washington urged Israel to comply with international law and protect civilians if it starts major military operations in southern Gaza. At the same time, the Pentagon quietly ramped up military intelligence and aid to Israel, including bunker-buster munitions and new army vehicles, according to an internal Defense Department list. The Biden administration held back a shipment of more than 27,000 U.S.-made rifles to Israel amid extremist Israeli settler violence in the occupied West Bank. A few weeks later, the same administration bypassed Congress and approved a $147.5 million sale of artillery munitions and related equipment to Israel. As a catastrophic famine began to take hold in Gaza towards the end of March, the Biden administration authorized the transfer of billions of dollars in bombs and fighter jets to Israel. Biden said U.S.'s Gaza policy would be determined by their assessment of Israel's immediate action on Washington's requests.
If we don't see the changes that we need to see, there'll be changes in our own policy.
The U.S.'s threat in April sought for the first time to leverage American aid to influence Israel's behavior. But on the same day the statement was released, the Washington Post reported that the Biden administration approved the transfer of thousands more bombs to Israel. Also in April, the U.S. vetoed a UN Security Council resolution granting Palestine full membership in the UN. On multiple occasions, Washington shielded Israel by using its veto powers at the UN Security Council, by overriding resolutions calling for humanitarian pauses and humanitarian ceasefires in Gaza. Since 1945, the U.S. has used more than half of its veto power to block resolutions critical of Israel. Netanyahu claimed that the Biden administration was withholding weapons to Israel. Netanyahu visited Washington, D.C. and addressed the U.S. Congress as pro-Palestine protesters demonstrated outside, calling on Washington to cut off military assistance to its Middle East ally.
America and Israel must stand together.
Washington had in August approved a $20 billion arms sale to Tel Aviv for 2025, which includes fighter jets and advanced air-to-air missiles. The U.S. warned all parties in the Middle East against escalation, but then sent an $8.7 billion aid package to Israel as Tel Aviv pounded Lebanon. The Pentagon confirmed the deployment of an additional few thousand troops to the Middle East a day after Biden said that it would not happen. Since October 7, 2023, the U.S. has already sent at least $17.9 billion in military aid to Israel and remains Israel's top supplier of weapons. Bogus threats followed by more weapons is a U.S. green light for Israel to continue its genocidal war in Gaza. The Biden administration is yet to show any actionable support for Palestinians in the besieged enclave. Be it war crimes, genocide, breaking multiple humanitarian laws, or spreading war to Lebanon and Syria, Washington remains resolute in its support to Tel Aviv.